anything said at this moment would be superfluous. In his own characteristic way, he has given a beautiful story of Bhagavad Gita, conveying the message of what is relevant today to face the problems that we are having now. This has been a continuation of what the other three speakers have so far narrated or explained, and that comes to the speech of Swamiji. Now we have got about half an hour for questions and answers. So I would just request you to frame the question that is relevant to this topic of what Swamiji has said. And if you have got any other questions beyond this topic, we can always take it up at the end. Yes, please go ahead.
Swamiji, I am so delighted to be here. I've heard you for a dozen years, I think. I want to latch on to your last sentence. You mentioned that he said, "You are dear to me." Now, how does he say it? And how will we know? Can you please enlighten us and expound on that? Thank you.
What is the best thing you can do to yourself in life? For example, let us say one is lost in a dream. Nightmare, not even a dream. In a nightmare, what is the best thing you can do to yourself?
Wake up.
Wake up. That's the best thing. The whole thing ends there. You wake up, the nightmare is gone. So in the nightmare, waking up is the best thing one can do. And there are others also in the nightmare. What is the best thing you can do? Try waking them up. So those who are doing this work, trying to wake up and trying to wake others up, are certainly the most dearest to the Lord's, because they are waking up to the divine. Not that others are not dear, but these are the ones who can get closer. He says in the 7th chapter, there are 4 kinds of people who invoke me, classified it before. Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnani. There are some people who invoke God whenever they are in distress. More trouble. Suddenly the doctor said, your kidney is in. More prayers. Regular visit to the temple. Students, exams are coming. Extra prayer, isn't it? Invoke the Lord when there is trouble, distress. Oh Lord, do something. There are others who go all the way, let us say, to Tirupati or Vaishnav Devi, etc. My business is not going well. This promotion I've been looking for, it is not happening to me. Why can't you do this? Oh, Tirupati Balaji, we can be partners in business. And some portion I promise, honestly I will deposit to you. Artharthi, wealth and power, that's why they invoke the Lord. There are some who are curious, they don't have deep urge to know. Curious. What it could mean. What is that? Let me know about it, that's it. Not the urge to experience, but just to collect information. Curious. And the 4th type is Jnani, who wants nothing from God, just wants God. When there's a very important match, let us say, cricket match or football or some sports you love, and it so happened that you were held up with something and you did not watch it, what is your feeling? Particularly your favorite team when it did well. You didn't see the match. I missed it. Isn't it? A long cherished friend did not write to you or anything. Oh, I miss him. Do you miss God? Has there been tears anytime? Missing God? Tears. Oh Lord, I've been missing you. Jnani is that he misses God badly. Naturally, he is dear to him. And naturally, when he misses God so badly, he wants God and God alone. What do you think he would speak to the people around? Tell them more about God. So the Lord says, such a person is very dear to me. Among all the dear ones, this guy is very dear to me. That's what he meant, yeah.
Sir, on the outset, when we listen to such an inspiring lecture or a discourse on Gita, the contents of the Gita, it looks so simple and transparent that which we can easily adopt and practice. But when we start doing it in actual case and on a practical basis, it looks so difficult to follow, and then we get confused. So why it is so difficult to follow even when we understand what we need to do, and then how do we come over that?
Practical approach. I can give you answer from the Gita itself. Practice is the only way, abhyasa yoga. Whatever little we have heard, try again and again to practice. The mind goes away, bring it back. I have understood this, let me practice. For in the course of the discussion we had, I said, list down 10 activities and give complete focus to it. That is practical. 10 you do for a week, you can do it for 25. Then it becomes a habit. So Krishna says, abhyasa yoga, repeat it again and again and again. So that understanding what we have to apply it again and again. 9 out of 10 we may fail, but once we would succeed. That one success is a tremendous inspiration. It will prompt us to do further. So, the only way of living what we have heard is practice. And the best way would be to practice, I must remind myself again and again. That's the power of satsang. When you are in satsang, you are reminded again and again and again. Otherwise, people forget. People, we are almost professionals when it comes to giving talks. Sometimes I go to the same town, same country and ask, what was the chapter I spoke last time when I came? Swamiji, I think that was Gita. I think that was Gita. You have not practiced what you have heard. So once in a while something going in, and if one thinks one can get infinity that way, even finite things are difficult. Once in a while applying it, you understand. And I want infinite, then I better stay focused completely. So the best would be constant satsang. It need not be discussions like this on a larger forums. It could be a group of friends. If nothing, it could be thoughts of great men in the forms of books and tapes. Being in touch with it constantly, every day. Make sure that that's very important. Things to do. Prayer first. Things to do. Meditation first. That way, every day if you do, I'm telling you, this is practical. People have been transformed that way. And Gita is a simple book, no complication. Direct. It's just that we have to be a little consistent in what we do. Show consistency, transformation is bound to be there. Because the information itself is such that once you start appreciating the information, you are getting transformed. Jnana Vijnana Yoga. From information, one gets complete transformation. Why? The information is such that it is different from other things. All other sciences are objective sciences. Outside you. Vedanta is subjective science. So when you get to know about divinity, you would become divine. Because it is subjective. It is much different from other sciences. So Gita is a subjective science. When you are in touch with it, you have to become divine. When you get to know more and more about divinity, you become divine. So the very information has the potential to transform a person, because it is subjective science. So practice is the only way, abhyasa yoga, being consistent in what we do, sure transformation.
Next question, please.
Actually, I had two questions which has been already explained to me
Okay.
during the course of this course, and I am very happy. Actually, the question is thinking, speaking, doing, etc. I mean, it's associated with mind and body. So, how to do the process? I mean, with the equanimity of mind, which has been explained in various. During the course, and I'm very happy about that. And other thing is, he only bring me to the earth, and he only giving me everything, and he only taking me even at the end. And I want to be an instrument in the hands of Lord. This is what I have, and how to carry out. I mean, how to be an instrument to this hands of Lord, and which has been explained earlier by doing abhyasa and practice. So that's the only. So I'm very happy about these questions has been addressed earlier. And in fact, morning I have given two questions to Swami Vasudeva Acharya. I think that has been also answered during your explanation lecture, and I'm very happy about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question. One of the features of modern world is that I think the rate of change of acceleration is very high, and there's a lot of change happening very in rapid succession. So, what is the how does Gita sort of help us tackle this rate of change?
The modern term they use for this rapid change is called future shock. That's the term they use, future shock. Alvin Toffler and others have written volumes on it. The change is happening so much that when basically a person moves from one culture to another culture, he's shocked by the new culture. But the change is happening so fast, so rapid in one's own culture. So that's what they call as future shock. This is the only solution. Gita is the only solution. I mean, Gita means Vedanta is the only solution. Spirituality is the only solution. Which makes us understand that change is inevitable. Let it change as fast as possible. Let the change happen. I am the changeless, observing the change. The change is happening. I am anchored into the changeless. If I'm anchored into the changeless, I'm anchored into God. And watch the change happening. If I don't anchor into the changeless, I am moving with the change. It would be very difficult. So I must, in and through different changes, I must learn to understand what is changeless, on which the change is taking place, or with what do you observe change? You notice things are changing. With what do you notice change? Anchor into that. That which is aware of the changes is changeless. So it needs little practice, little bit of meditation to understand the changeless and the change, and start anchoring in the changeless. We can play with change. We need a steady factor to play with change. And right now we have it. The changeless right now is there. That's why you have observed change in you. So you understand the changeless is in you. You don't have to search anywhere else. It is like abiding in the changeless. And once we abide in the changeless, yes, change is a joy. It's a treat. When we don't do that, then change could be very troublesome.
You said we have to be the best in whatever we do. So, if we are the best in whatever we do, we also want to have the best house, best women, best everything. So, is that desired?
You have any doubt? Is that a desire? Yes, it is.
If you are the best, you are supposed to get the best. So, I'm confused with this, and how does Gita help us to think to the next level?
You be the best, you will get the best. You understand? Without not being the best, I should not aspire for the best. So you ask yourself, are you the best? Try doing it. Achieve best. You will get best. That's how it is, seriously. I may put it in a very short way, but you start becoming the best, you will receive the best.
Swamiji, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, He is the creator. When He has created, so why some are very rich, some are very poor, and some are more knowledgeable? Why am I not able to give speeches like you? I mean, like this. Why this disparity in children, own children? Whereas our own children, we give or treat all of them equally,
Very
more or
good.
less.
Now, we have to go by the first line of your question, which says, where you said, God or Krishna created this world. Please explain what is Krishna. I'm not asking who is Krishna. You may say Devaki's son. What is Krishna?
He is the creator.
Think. That question has to be thought of. See, it's important that we think, did the Lord create this world? First question. Don't accept because somebody told you. Did the Lord create this world, or did He manifest Himself as this world? Think. When He created, you go by He created, then the created is different from the creator and the disparity would be there. That is not true. With what did He create? With what did He create the world? With some source, something which was available, He took that and then He created, then that was there already. Then something, the material was there, the Lord is there, and then the created. So where did this come from? You understand? So it's better not to look at it that way. You will find all answers if you start looking at it as I suggested. Did God create this world, or God manifested as this world? God has manifested as this world. You and I are that divine which has manifested as this. So the disparity is not from His point. The disparity is we are not applying what we have to apply. So there's no point, turning it out on Him, that some are rich, some are poor. No. He, the reality, is one which has manifested as you and me. God alone has manifested as this world. This creation, what we see, the world, what we experience, is not different from God. The effect is not different from the cause. Cause alone has manifested as the effect. So that means effect, in other words, is the cause. So you ask yourself. You understand? You have to ask yourself, why is it like that? Because you're the cause. So it's not God, but we have to understand here, everyone has the potential. Everyone has the potential and one can do it.
Some are born rich.
No. Some have achieved richness.
Some.
You understand? The potential is there. That way if you see. Born rich, some have achieved richness, isn't it? But if you say he has not given the potential, then that's incorrect. Because everybody has the potential. And we go into this, then we have to explain another series of discussion we should have on why some are born rich. Why some are born, not talented, as you said, whatever. Why? So the effect must have a cause. What is the cause? Who is responsible for it? Did he create it, or I get what I deserve? You understand? The line of thought is, I get what I deserve, or he created it. The truth is, I get what I deserve, because I am responsible for it. That's where we go into the complete theory of, karma. I get what I deserve is karma. I am responsible for it. It's not him sitting somewhere. I get exactly what I want. I get exactly what I deserve by my own actions. My actions are the cause, and what I see now is the effect. But the truth is, the reality is one. He alone has manifested as you and me. All of us have the same potential.
Can we say that manifestation is part of creation?
When we see it as the world, it is creation. When we see it as God, it's just the thing. Gurudev used to say, in a still mind, what you experience is God. When the mind is moving, when the mind is in motion, what we experience is world. Mind in movement, thoughts running, what we see is world. When the thoughts are still, the same thing appears as God. So what we see as world, when the mind is still, it is God. When the mind is in motion, what was there as God appears as world. So it's just a manifestation only.
People from the back side. Please come forward.
Hi, my name is Richard Walk. Recently I've seen the Secret. The Secret says the law of attraction. And what you perceive and believe, you will achieve. Do you believe in that? Is that the world of universe energy that attract of what you think and you receive? Can you touch on this? Thank you.
I've watched the documentary Secret. I've read the book too. What you do in the present to get your future as you want, that part of Secret is true. But Secret, the theory in the documentary is incomplete. It doesn't talk about the present effect which we face of the past being the cause. That part of it is not touched. So it's a kind of a bit incomplete presentation. But the truth is, in the present you create your future. That part of it is true. You can attract exactly what you want, the future, by modifying the present. That part of the Secret is true. That's what everyone has been talking. As you think, so you become. But what I am now is because of the past. The past effect is not touched at all. For example, let us say someone was born little deformed. Can the Secret make the physical perfection? You understand? That comes with the past. So there it is a little incomplete. So I believe that part of the Secret, where the present intelligently applied creates future, because that's the law of attraction. You really attract it. We get exactly what we want because we attract them. But what I am is now, what I am is something which I have attracted in the past. So that part of it is ignored. So we have to accept it, that there are certain things I must accept it as it is, and there are things which I can definitely create in the future. So the past effect is not touched in the documentation. Yeah.
Same person again.
Since the past is not what we want, why look towards the past? Look towards the future or whatever we want.
Right. The effect of the past you cannot avoid, because the effect of the past is the present.
Correct.
You understand?
But why focus on the past?
No, it's not a question of focus on the past. No, if you are talking about, you asked me, do you believe in that? I said, yes, I believe partly in that concept called Secret, where you do the present and you get the future. It's not that everything you would get that way, because that's why I gave you an example. Somebody born deformed. Secret is not going to undo that. Because that's the effect of the past. So there are certain things which we have to accept because they are the effect of the past. That aspect of, see, when a theory is presented, when a paper is presented, it must be presented completely. Partially presenting is not correct. That way, secret is partly presented, where they have not taken the whole thing. That's what I meant. I believe in the partly presentation from the present, what comes is the future, but they must also tell sometimes the effect of the past is in the present, which you should learn to accept, and then create your future. Yeah.
So it is true that if you focus on the
Yes.
future,
Yes.
what you want to be, what you want to have in the future,
Yes.
what you become to be, what you want to be, it manifests.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you.
Certainly it manifests, because you are the potential, you are the divine to make it exactly manifest as you want.
Speak to the mic.
Referring to one shloka in Bhagavad Gita,
Speak to the mic.
Kamat bhavati krodha and krodha bhavati samoha and buddhinash krodha samoha buddhinasha vinashyati is the state of Arjuna in which he was in the Vishada, depression, different from the state of buddhinasha, or is it the same? Was he desiring victory or was he not desiring victory? Is it nishkama karma different from the desire? I want to know,
Okay.
because this shloka has been troubling me a lot, thinking of it.
If Arjuna wanted victory, yes, Arjuna certainly wanted victory. He came there, but he lost confidence. That buddhinasha is slightly different from what was mentioned in the verse. Sangha jayate, what is this stanza? Jyayato vishayan pumsa sangha. In that he says, buddhinashat pranashyati. Why buddhinashat? Smriti bramshat. The memory is lost. The moment we lose memory, how do you lose memory? Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibramaha. So when a person gets extremely attached, sangha, to an object, if there is an obstacle coming between you and your desired object, what comes in between is anger. Krodhat bhavati. Okay. And once that anger comes, one gets completely deluded, confused. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammohat. From there, what is the effect? Sammohat smriti vibramaha. In rage, in anger, one is disconnected from memory. That's what anger does. It disconnects you from the memory. And once you are disconnected from the memory, you have lost contact with your memory. There you have lost contact with good and bad. Your wisdom of right and wrong, what is to be done, what is not to be done, they are all in your memory. At that rage, at that anger, one is disconnected to it. So wisdom is not available. Naturally, when wisdom is not available, pranashyati, one perishes.
But does Arjuna has the
No.
desire for victory?
In the beginning, Arjuna had desire for victory. And there he saw, and in Arjuna's case, he lost confidence looking at himself. And that buddhinasha is definitely different from the kind of attachment which led to anger, etc., etc. So there are two different issues that way you see. Arjuna lost confidence. And it was various things coming into his head at that point of time. So that's the confusion. Here what happens is complete disconnection to the memory. Arjuna was not disconnected to the memory. He was conscious of Bhishma's power. He was conscious of Jayadratha's power. He was conscious of all of them. Here what happens, you get disconnected to the memory at that point of time as one is insane because wisdom is not available. It's two different. So one was Arjuna's dejection, and this is loss, disconnected to the memory, which denies wisdom. They are two different. Nishkama karma, you should not put that into a category of desire, because it helps you to evolve. Those things which help you to evolve, you must take. We must not, put them into the category of desire, because that helps you to evolve. So all those things which helps you to evolve, we call it samskaras, a seeker's qualities. A seeker's quality should not be, to possess a seeker's quality should not be categorized as a desire, because there is no point. Because there it is not downfall, it is raise. Yeah, so Nishkama karma should not be put as a desire.
Namaste Swamiji. Verse 247, we always say that we have right over the action, but we don't have the right over the result. Okay, but when we start any action, can we expect the desired result, or what should we write? When the student is writing an exam, Of course, he is going to do his best, but he's going to expect that he has to score the maximum marks and on whatever it is. He may get anything, okay, that has to be taken as a prasad buddhi, with as an offering or whatever, as a small example. But is it wrong, or what should be the attitude of the doer as he starts doing the karma, doing his best?
The issue here is desired objects are less, desirers are many. Now the boy gets into the exam, continuing your example further, he wants to do well, that much is fine. He wants to be number one. If he's going to have a desire that I want to be number one, it's a good desire. But there may be someone else also who wanted to be number one. Now there's a competition. Now he's thinking that there is someone competing with him. That very fact that someone is competing with him can create anxiety. If there is no anxiety, it is fine. If that creates anxiety that he may get it, then his efficiency goes down. So the best way would be like, you forget that, you give your best. Giving best is a nice thing. I go out and I give the best. Let whatever be the outcome, let it be. But if I'm going to think I'm going to be number one, and there's now another guy thinking I want to be number one, now there's a competition. 3 people want to be number one. Now there is anxiety. Oh, how would these? Unwanted things come up. When these anxieties come, your efficiency is lost. So the simplest or the best would be, I will go and give my best. And there, let me be focused completely. That should be the focus. That's what he says. You forget the result. You give your best here.
Yes, Mr. Gopal now.
Swamiji, I want to be idealistic, I want to be the best. But the society around me puts in, does not allow me to be the idealistic and the best. Would I be doing the right thing in pointing out their deficiency such that everybody could be the best and I will not have an obstruction?
Good. This is a very practical situation. Many people ask about this thing. I rightly understand your question. People around you cannot understand what you're trying to do or what you're trying to say. They're not able to understand. Then what is important here is you can't compromise on what you want to be. If you compromise, you're missing out. So one must constantly struggle again and again to make them aware of what it is. If you are going to tell them to improve their efficiency, you must tell them in the best possible way so that they understand it well. Sometimes in my telling, making them aware, I may be falling short. I may want it correctly. I may want it very important. It's very important, I really want it. But the way in which I may inspire them or the way in which I may say may not bring out the best. So this is one of the issues. So I have to now and then cross-check myself. The way in which I am telling them, is that the best? Are they inspired or how are they looking at it? But best would be more than words, action. Let action speak. You stick to your ideals and live. Slowly people will be inspired.
So when the Gita talks about sacrifice, as the very basis of nature and creation and other things. So right from that macro level thing, we'd also talk about being actions done without a desire. Right? Now, but if you look at concrete human nature, even though we do understand the flip side of too much attachment and too much of focus cost on the outcomes. But we still have to admit that self-interest is the primary motive and the primary driver for human progress itself. And there is a self-interest at play, right? Right from the innocent baby which clamors for its self-interest to be cared and other things, to right up to old age, we have self-interest as the operating DNA of our actions, and that cannot be negated, right? That cannot be denied, however much we want to get away from it. How do you reconcile these two particular aspects of sacrifice being the order of the day of the universe or operating of the universe and human interest or the self-interest, right? I'm not using the word selfishness. Self-interest as the operating thing for human progress and all. Thank you.
Yeah. Please sit down. self-realization, is it a self-interest goal? What happens when you realize? What is the price you pay to realize that? Sacrifice? What is realization? The individual expands to infinity. Self-realization is a self-interest. I am motivated towards self-realization. It's a self-interest. What is the price I pay for it? Sacrifice. Tyage neke amrtatva manashu. Tyaga, sacrifice. Detachment. Detachment to various things helps me to expand myself to the total. So self-realization is definitely a self-interested goal, but in which what happens, the individual, the small self simply disappears into the vastness of the total. So here is a desire where I want to disappear into the vastness or experience the vastness. So therefore, if you say self-interest is motivation, yes, true. Definitely from the childhood, and I agree on what you said as from the DNA standpoint, yes, true. But what are we interested in? At some point of time, everybody would have that interest for realization. Everybody would have that interest for realization because that's their nature. There are different phases of life when one wants small things. So the self-interest at that time would be for some small things. Dharma, artha and kama. Then from there a person would evolve dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So dharma, artha, kama level alone is not enough there. It is moksha also. So the self-interest would come in, would be there for a while because that depends upon the evolution of the person, and then one would evolve the absolute. That's why I said self-realization. Is it of self-interest or not? Yes. Then what are the things you have to do for it? I sacrifice. What? My likes and dislikes. My selfishness. All I keep giving up so that I realize the self. For that goal, which is again a self-motivated individual, an individual takes up living in this world, he comes and he says, I've seen this world. I need to know now what is beyond this. Let me seek that. And he moves, motivated, naturally. And then he gets the information that there is something called self-realization where you experience oneness, and he's convinced about it. He moves further. Naturally self-interest, the same DNA factor is there. But what is the price you have to pay for it? Detachment. Detachment to various things. When that becomes the goal, the permanent stuff becomes the goal, to the impermanent we detach. Sacrifice. So if that is not the goal, if absolute is not the goal, there's no point telling people give up sacrifice. Sacrifice yourself. No, they will not do it. For why would they do it? They'll be looking for themselves. Then the human evolution starts. You are not alone. You have a family. Now which is more important, you or your family? In the interest of the family, can you sacrifice? There are people who understand, oh, that's the larger, let me sacrifice my likes or dislikes for the well-being of the family. Sacrifice cannot be avoided. Then there is family, and then there is samaj, the world. Oh, sometimes I have to give up the family for the larger interest. That way it goes. So what would be the highest? God. Beyond that there is nothing. Infinity. So when I seek infinity, I sacrifice everything. For the world, I can sacrifice the family. For the family, I can sacrifice my selfishness. I sacrifice the world for that. That's how it works. So, both are right. It motivates, and at one point of time, the motivation is so high that you start dropping things, sacrificing. But if people are going to live only seeking dharma, artha and kama, three ways, material only thing, that person will not be in a position to sacrifice. But if he is ignited with knowledge, then he understands, saying the same DNA works here, hey, drop these things so that I experience the infinity. So they go together.
Good. One last question, please. Well, if there are no questions, The last one.
Swami, you have said to spread this message of Gita. So I feel is why God must have created so many religions, because they also are spreading their beliefs. Is it something like the top itself, like Congress Party or Marxist Party? God must have some policies made, and Gita may be in one direction, Christ may be in another. That may be the reason of some of the areas, some clashes or.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sit down. A culture or a religion, if you see, must be very accommodative. It must have the depth to accommodate the beginner, the most primitive level. It must have the depth to accommodate absolute, sublime, formless worshippers. The culture or the religion must have the depth to accommodate these two ends. That religion which has the depth to accommodate would be universal, friendly, which believes every path will take you there. Like the rivers go to the ocean, every river final destination is ocean, every path will go there, it accepts the depth. So how do we look at it from Vedanta standpoint? You and God could be identical, one. You and God can be eternally separate, second. You and God could be part, you are part of God, not the whole. These are three possible. Or there is no God, isn't it? So God and you are identical is one school of thought. God and you are eternally separate is another school of thought. God and you are part of it, not the whole. There is no God. Okay. Now this way, if you see the accommodativeness of this culture accommodates everything and says every path takes you there. So if you, let us say, for example, some religions believe that God and you are eternally separate. It's accommodated in this. God and you are identical, accommodated. So this way, if you see, that culture or the religion which has the depth to accommodate everybody would be universal friendly. There won't be conflicts. That philosophy has to be understood. If the conflict arises, if we swear by one and reject the rest, this alone will go, others will not. Others are doomed. This is the only way. That will create conflict. There you are swearing by one, rejecting the rest. So Gita should not be the only way. You understand that way? Gita cannot be the only book. There are some people who like other books. Variety should be there. A to Z accommodation. So that's why in Hindu culture you have many, many books. It's not just one book. There are so many seekers who don't believe in Gita. They believe in some other book. Siddhanta. Saiva Siddhanta, they don't come into this, but they're not that they don't reach there. Do you understand that? So variety should be there and there must be choice to provide, and the broad-mindedness, the large-heartedness must be there to accommodate everything, saying, yeah, every book is divine, everywhere takes you there. If that accommodativeness is not there, there is a problem. So in the world, if problems arise, it arises because some cultures or some religions are not very accommodative. They just swear by one and do not accept the rest. That creates conflict. Not God created it. God created the beautiful creation where you and I try to find a way back to Him. The way we find the way which we want to approach, or the way which we discovered is religion. Do you understand? God did not create it. The way we discovered was religion. But there are certain discoveries in the religion which are natural, which are factual, which is not born out of human mind. They happened when the human mind was silent. That is called revelation. That's what I said, Shruti. So that way people came. And if you understand, when a religion completely evolves, it will have the accommodativeness. Those religions who do not have that accommodativeness are still evolving. somebody will change it. If there are rebels in that culture, there are dynamic thinkers in that culture, they'll come and make a change. They'll make it accommodative. It will not be fanatical. Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you.
The answer for the last question almost took us to Dvaita, Advaita and Vishishta Advaita. We were bordering on that one. Well, that has been a very interesting question and answer sessions. Now, Swamiji has put the whole thing in a very easily understandable form. Normally when we read Gita, study Gita, we ignore the chapter 1. We don't go through it in detail. But he has made the reason for Arjuna's despondency so clear. Why, when he saw Bhima, Drona, Jayadratha, Drishtadyumna, even Ashwatthama, why he became so weak all in a sudden? Because each one, Bhishma, as he said, is a Ichamani. He can call for his own death. Nobody can kill him. Ashwatthama is again a Chiranjeevi. Nobody can kill him also. So when you are seeing people like that, it's really a great shock, even for a great warrior for Arjuna. We should not forget, Arjuna fought with Shiva when they were doing, when he was in the forest actually, Kirat Arjuniya. He got the Pashpatastra from Shiva himself. So for such a person to become so despondent after looking at all that, Swamiji has put it very clearly. Personally, I make a confession, I don't read the first chapter. I always take it for granted. But now, my interest, I will go back to Bharata and read it more seriously. So with that, those few words, on behalf of all of us, I thank you very sincerely for the nice exposition that you gave on Gita. Now comes my turn. Please sit down for a minute. Don't get up. It's not over yet. When I look back at this forum, which is a new attempt for this year, my thinking was developing in another direction. Normally when we do for Gita Jayanti, the Havana and Homa and all that, reciting all the 18 chapters, like our sisters here, who start at 8 o'clock and go on till 1 o'clock. And with all the offering that our Sunil would do, that's purely our karma kanda, would finish part of our karma on that day. But this forum today has made another dimension, or it has added another dimension. This is Jnana Kanda. So when Chaudhary was telling me sometime back we should do this, I was a bit hesitant. How we are going to do this one? We had money, of course, I must make that very clear. This year we had some surplus money, we wanted to spend it. And that's why this Gita Forum has come. But that money, I should say, by any account, it has been spent for the most worthwhile cause in all my experience. For those of you who have been just introduced to Gita Jayanti, I want to say only 1 or 2 words. It has not come about very easily. We had our problems. By chance, one of this Hare Krishna movement disciple, he came to see me about 11 years ago to start this movement. At that time, I was still very active in Kuala Lumpur, and I passed on the boy to my good friend Rishikesh Raja. I told him we should not miss this because we thought we would do it on behalf of the Hindu Center. Mr. Gopal Ratnam, who is sitting there, he was very close to me, and he was the first person to raise the money to start the first Gita Jayanti. And from such humble beginnings, we have improved slowly, and gradually. And now today we are very proud that we raise enough money not only to spend, but also to save and to put it in the deposit in the Hindu Endowment Board. Now that is becoming a big amount now. We should try to find some means how to tackle that also and make Gita more popular in one way or the other. With that end, we have just started this venture of organizing the forum, and now our sisters are very keen to teach Gita for the children, and they have taken the model of your question and answers, that quiz program and all that, and I hope that will become more popular and more children will come forward to learn Bhagavad Gita as well as the elders. So with that note, I thank you all for your kind, patient and understanding and attendance, and I wish all of you. Of course, so the program is not over. After a little interval, we are going to have a general panel of discussion, and that the young lady would announce. Thank you again.